Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
Alyeska Pipeline Service Company, fueling philanthropic programs and dedicated to creating educational and professional opportunities for Alaska Native people.
The National Weather Service.
Clouds extending all across the Gulf of Alaska, North Gulf Coast here. A lot of clouds over the southern interior and a lot of kind of disorganized cloudiness up in the interior with some areas of light snow and flurries there, and fog and flurries in places along the Arctic coast. Out in the Bering Sea, not much going on, just some snow showers out over the far western Aleutian areas. And we'll see today, we've got low pressure right here over the Bering Sea, both at the surface and aloft, and much colder air coming down through the Bering Strait there from the Chukchi Sea and the Arctic up there. Initially pulling back to the west here, widespread area of moisture out over the northwest Bering Sea. Snow showers here from Shimia, and just some isolated stuff into Adak and Atka. Rain and snow showers on Alaska, same thing for the Alaska Peninsula. And showers ended today across Kodiak Island. Looks like some breaks here across the southwest. And rolling that again, you can see the big storm that tracked right into the southern southeast coast. The front now already off to the east there, and now passing Watson Lake. And moisture back to the west in the form of rain at Cordova, rain and snow in Yakutat, and a mixture right into the western Prince William Sound area, Kenai Peninsula, a little bit of snow. Also some snow here over Cook Inlet from Kenai, mostly west of Homer and Seldovia on into Iliamna, and areas of snow up to the northwest here from the Central Brooks Range, Bettles on up to Anatuvik, west and southwest across the Selawik Valley and the Kotzebue Sound area. Much stronger winds today, gusting 50 to 60 miles per hour here on those western capes there, Point Hope, Cape Lisburne, out of the northeast, and 40 knot winds through the Bering Strait, a little bit less there, St. Lawrence Island. And you can see most of that cold air pulling off to the southwest here, wrapping around this low center, 979 millibars, which is tracking eastward here. And so the colder air and snow showers back out to the west, but the whole pattern shifting east, and this northerly flow will begin to drop down to the south. So tonight, the winter storm warning should end for the Hyder area after picking up about a foot of snow, and light precipitation over the northern southeast coast today, but down south much heavier. Craig picking up about 1 7/10 inches in the last 24 hours. Ketchikan a little over an inch, and Heidelberg had almost 1.5 inches, and also 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts to go along with that, but conditions and winds were much lighter as you headed north. And for tonight, that system moves all the way into Canada there. Low pressure now in the Gulf of Alaska, strong westerly flow across the Pacific. They'll keep sending surges of moisture into the Panhandle, mixed, more showery down south, chance of snow up to the north at times, with less precipitation back along the North Gulf Coast, but not much of a change from what you saw today. Snow showers, western Prince William Sound to Turnagain Arm and the Kenai Peninsula. Main area snow back to the west here, west of Cook Inlet to the Alaska Range. And then this front pushing eastward, drops southward, Arctic front there. So look for some light snow from the Yukon Flats there, maybe as far south as Eagle, back across the northern Koyukuk Valley, all the way out to Kotzebue Sound and southward here along this trough. Periods of snow likely. Still looking at some blowing snow going on there for St. Lawrence Island. And the cold air plunging southward. Looks like after midnight tonight, Snowfall levels will drop down to sea level there for the Pribilof. Still mixed conditions here, but pretty gusty west-northwesterlies there for the Fox Islands. And just scattered rain and snow showers for the Alaska Peninsula. Not much going on over Bristol Bay. And partial clearing there for Kodiak Island with that westerly offshore downsloping flow. Snow showers the western Aleutians. A little bit of break here coming in ahead of the next big storm that pushes eastward. Tomorrow spreads much warmer air, rain, and increase in the winds. They're up to about storm force by the afternoon, or actually toward evening, or for tomorrow night they have storm warnings out. Otherwise, increasing gale warnings out that way through tomorrow. And then the other side of the ridge axis, that cold air continues to pour southward right into the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutian areas. Low pressure there near AKwx, Kodiak Island, but not a lot of weather with that, mostly down to the south there. And then this weak low up over western Prince William Sound. Mostly cloudy, areas of snow showers here, Kenai Peninsula, Talkeetnas, maybe northern Cook Inlet, and also along the North Gulf Coast. More persistent widespread snow from Canada through the central interior, Yukon, Tanana Valley areas, all the way out again to Kotzebue Sound, and kind of a trough down here bringing some snow, possibly to McGrath on in toward Bethel and that area. Otherwise, the Arctic coast, light winds, patchy fog, areas of flurries. Continue the strong winds there over the northwest coast. And for Wednesday, we've got scattered rain and snow showers over the southern southeast coast, snow showers the farther east you are or north. Low pressure here develops a front right about in this area here, but remains off the coast there through the day. And some light snow for the North Gulf Coast or snow showers, that same pattern. Actually, this trough coming eastward here will spread snow across the Susitna, Madanuska Valley areas down into at least northern Cook Inlet, probably as far south as Anchor Point there with possible snow showers. Probably see some snow showers into the Seldovia Homer area with that colder air sweeping in across the open Cook Inlet waters. Gusty northwest winds. Clearing out though for Kodiak Island and colder, less precipitation and colder temperatures here into the western interior, and a pretty good area of snow pushing across the Tanana Valley, again back into the upper Yukon and extending back to the west along the southern slopes of the Brooks Range. While we've got this next big storm, 952 millibars, tracking northward across the far western Bering Sea, but strong southwest flow. A lot of moisture, a lot of warm air riding in on pretty strong winds, storm force winds out over the western Aleutians, and good gales here for the central Aleutians, especially ahead of the front. So that warmer air, mixture precipitation starting out as snow, changing to rain, definitely from Cape Neuenham, probably up to Nunivak Island in the afternoon. And it looks like St. Lawrence Island probably won't get into any blizzard conditions until Wednesday night. Otherwise, looking at the temperatures across the southeast coast this afternoon, lower 40s, 43 Sitka, 43 also down at Klawock, 37 in Petersburg, while Juneau had 33 degrees, 35 up at Skagway, mid-30s all along the North Gulf Coast, right at the freeze mark there for Valdez, and a little above freezing for Seward, 36 Homer, upper 30s Kodiak Island, Palmer, 26 degrees, up to 30 there at Talkeetna, Gulkana 5 above 0, Northway the other side of the mountains 13 below, while Delta was up to 15, -7 Fairbanks, -6 over at Tanana. On up to the north, 7 degrees at Fort Yukon, some snow, and 10 above there at Bettles, -11 Anatuvik, also picking up some snow there, but clearing out a little bit over the north slope, so that allowed temperatures to fall into the 20 to 25 below range. Next, extended all the way over to Barter Island with below zero temperatures all the way to Cape Lisburne with those strong winds. And Kivalina -6, Kotzebue 9 above, same thing at Shishmaref and at Wales with 19 down at Savunga. And interior here, temperatures range from 4 at McGrath to 28 by the time you got down to Bethel, and 25 there at Macoriac. And mid to upper 30s here for the Pribilofs. Colder air, snow showers, 30 degrees out at Shimia, and temperatures falling there for the central Aleutians, but 40 at Nikolsky, about the same at Unalaska, 30s all the way up into Bristol Bay. Forecast lows for tonight, upper 20s to lower to mid 30s here for the Panhandle, and teens and 20s south central Alaska, near zero over the Copper River Basin, below zero north of the Alaska Range. West of the Alaska Range, all in the teens, lower 20s here for the southwest coast, and 25 to 30 below for the North Slope. Highs for tomorrow staying below zero there from the Brooks Range or even the upper Yukon Valley areas to Eagle, all the way out to the Arctic coast, and then around 10 degrees for the Seward Peninsula, near 20 late tomorrow for St. Lawrence Island. 20s here southern Alaska, upper 20s Bristol Bay, 35 to 40 for the highs here for the Panhandle tomorrow, and mid 30s for the Aleutians. Flying weather tomorrow, IFR, central Arctic coast eastward, but not quite all the way to demarcation point. Swath of IFR with that cold air moisture pushing southward here to the eastern Aleutians. By 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, a narrow band here right along the coast of persistent IFR that extends across the northern Panhandle, and even a bigger area here over western Cook Inlet to the Alaska Range. By tomorrow afternoon, that goes VFR. And now we've got IFR here from western Prince William Sound, possibly into the Talkeetnas, and a much narrower band now up along the North Gulf Coast. But IFR conditions will persist mostly over toward the border, improving out along the coast, and a band of marginal stuff to IFR through the western interior, more widespread marginal VFR over the Bering Sea, and the IFR coming in with that next storm. Passes Anaktuvuk and Adigan will be VFR tomorrow, which will be an improvement from today. Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR. Rainy, starting out marginal, becoming VFR into the afternoon. Windy VFR, and Isabel as well, looking really good as Mentasta open. Tanita could be marginal at times. And for Portage, marginal VFR. Chilkoot and White, IFR likely for the entire day. Freezing levels at the surface here, just near the Pribilofs actually, so coming back southward and then dropping down here to the Aleutian Range, hugging the coastline, cutting across the northern Panhandle, but you can see still west of Hyder and Stewart, and that's for 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then for icing, areas of probably more mixed or rime here for the entire southeast coast. Extending back, but the chances diminish here as you get out toward Cape Yakataga. No icing over the interior, and another batch here along the west coast pushing eastward slowly. And then a big area of icing possibilities coming in with that next storm and all the moisture into the western Aleutians. That'll be spreading east and northeast beyond that. And the upper wind flow chart for tomorrow shows polar vortex here just west of Banks Island, circulating cold air southward, westerly zone about 50 knots along the eastern Arctic coast, a weaker flow coming across the southern interior. The main jet ahead of that big storm there coming up to Kamchatka Peninsula, pushing a ridge northward, so we've got a pretty good jet here coming across the southwest Bering Sea. And at 9,000 feet for tomorrow, pretty light winds over the interior, except a narrow band here of a little gusty east-northeasterlies, 25 to 40 knots in this area, 50 knots along the western Arctic coast, 45 in the Bering Strait. Northwest winds 25 to 35 coming down across the Alaska Peninsula. Southwest 25 across the Panhandle. And big increase in the winds out here, 50 to 75 knots over the western Aleutians. And then at 3,000 feet, I pick up, especially tomorrow afternoon out in this area, 30 to 50 knots. Northwest 40 knots, drops back to about 30 knots for False Pass. And it looks like the strongest winds now are down east of the Alaska Peninsula, down to 15 for the Barren Islands. Light here across southern Alaska. Northeasterlies 20 to 40 knots, turn northerly through the Bering Strait, but drop back to about 35. And the southeast coast, southwest flow 20 to 25 knots. Looking at turbulence, could be some areas of light to isolated moderate turbulence here over the southeast coast, but nothing that significant. Smooth over much of the interior. With those easterly winds up there, could be some light to isolated moderate chop, but more likely definitely here from the northwest through the Bering Strait to St. Lawrence Island, also along Nunivak Island area to Tuksuk Bay, And of course, those northwest mechanical turbulence conditions there for the Alaska Peninsula and eastern Aleutians, and pretty good increase in turbulence out over the western areas. And after the break of Hangar Flying, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary O'Connor with the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health here in Anchorage. We are grateful to Alaska Public Media and their sponsors for allowing us to bring you Hangar Flying. This evening, we are pleased to have back Mr. Jason Young. Welcome back, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
So Jason was the winner of the Dehne Hyatt Memorial Scholarship that was granted by the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation, and we would like to talk about how you found out about the scholarship.
Well, I have an advisor at the college I'm going to that pointed me in the direction of a separate scholarship, and through the course of doing all the background paperwork for that, I came across this one as well. And once you're in scholarship application mode, you might as well just do as many as you can.
That's exactly right. No sense inventing all that work over again.
Yes.
So all of the scholarships with the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation are worth up to $1,500 each. Were you able to use the money, or what do you plan to do with it?
You know, of all the things that I've been able to learn how to do over the course of my flying career, getting a tailwheel endorsement is very hard to do in the lower 48. None of the schools down there really offer that, and so after moving up here, it's been a personal goal to get that, and this is going to help me achieve that. So
you have worked as a professional pilot and a commercial pilot. Why do you want a tailwheel rating?
You know, that's the real flying. I mean, to be 100% honest.
Well, you sound like an Alaskan there. So you mentioned that your coursework and your degree are going to be through Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Are your classes online or in person?
It's both. Most of the modality that I've taken right now is online. Once I get into some of the more higher level classes towards the very end, they do offer them here. But since this is a satellite campus, there's very small class sizes, and my particular degree isn't something that they have a lot of kids going towards. So it's nice because it's flexible. I can start classes every month, and they have everything on the East Coast, which, you know, if you're in Alaska, it makes your due dates a little early, but other than that, it's pretty flexible.
Oh, good, good. You mentioned in our last program that you're a stay-at-home dad, and we've talked previously, you stopped flying 8 years ago, and since then, you've been Mr. Mom.
Yep.
And you also help a friend out with his business when you can, and in addition to going to school. You're juggling a lot of balls at once there.
Yep.
What's your biggest challenge in finding a healthy work-life balance?
You know, my wife would probably be a better one to answer that than me, but I think it's order of priority. You know, I'm a dad first, husband second, student third, and then everything else kind of falls in line after that. I do my best to try and get everything done that I need to do for my kids, and if I got time to do more stuff afterwards, then I'll do that. I just decided to be a ski coach too, so I'm going to add some more to the pot.
Right. And we talked briefly about instructing and wanting to go back to instructing and the possibility of instructing your sons.
Yeah, that would be a good life goal, I would say. At least get them interested in doing it. I am not by far not going to push my kids towards doing it as a career if it's not something they're interested in. I mean, looking back at how I struggled with financing and I moved all over the country to get different parts of my rating, it was quite a difficult road to do it the way that I would do it. And if my sons wanted to go to school to be a pilot, I would definitely push them more towards the military avenue of, you know, a good structured education at the same time.
Exactly.
There's a lot more security in that.
Yes. And who knows where aviation is going to be in the next 10, 15
I ended
years.
up living out of my truck at one point in time during my commercial rating, so.
That is a dedication to aviation.
Yep.
Good for you. So where should we look for you in 5 years?
Hopefully somebody in town finds a spot for me that I'll fit into, and I'll be able to enjoy seeing Alaska from up above. But I don't know.
You're looking at a position in safety or management, not necessarily back in piloting in the cockpit?
Yeah, you know, I'm going to be pretty flexible as far as what I'm doing. I think my life schedule is going to be the more of the dictator. I'm going to need to not be gone all the time. It's going to be, we've adjusted to me being around, so I think that those would be some pretty big shoes to fill if I'm gone all the time.
Absolutely, and I think that's a common problem with the piloting lifestyle. It is very difficult to manage both. But congratulations on the scholarship.
Well, thank you.
It sounds like you've done a fantastic job keeping all those family life, school, work, and ski coach, keeping all those going at once.
Well,
so
thank you.
We wish you the best of luck.
All right.
And we hope to see you back here in your position once you're done with school.
I'll come back anytime.
All right, thanks, Jason. I'd like to thank Alaska Public Media for allowing us to bring you Hangar Flying, and we'd like to thank the donors and the members of the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation, which make this scholarship opportunity possible. Until next time, fly safely.
Welcome back. Westerly winds 25 to as high as 30 knots down on the south coast in the forecast for tomorrow, with seas ranging from 15 feet, even though the winds will only be 15 knots, up to on the north coast there to 20 feet down south. Clarence Strait, southwest 26-foot seas, light winds, light southerlies for Stevens Passage, and south 20 for northern Lynn Canal. Those drop back to about 15 knots, and that extends really all the way down to the south. A little more southeasterly for Clarence Strait. Small craft advisories southwest 25 knots, 15 to 18 foot seas on the south coast, and then south to southwest 10 to 20 up to the north. Prince William Sound tomorrow, light variable winds, seas 2 feet. Same thing for northern Cook Inlet, light north winds south of the Forelands, northwest 20 Kamashack Bay, and west 20 for the Barrens, 25 knot westerlies for the North Gulf Coast. And then increase in the winds here for Kodiak Island for Wednesday, small craft advisory Shelikof Strait, westerly gales there along the east side of Kodiak, and in northwest 45 knots there coming across Augustine Island down through the Barrens. Northwest dropping back to about 30 knots, weak low right in this area, so southeast winds at about 20 there to the east of that center. And again, continued light winds for Prince William Sound. For Bristol Bay, northwest 15 tomorrow, those pick up to 30 knots from Castle Cape to Sitkinak, and then good gales from Castle Cape out to Cape Sarachef there with 22-foot seas. Outlook for Wednesday, southwest 35 knots here on the north side of the peninsula, westerlies 30, northwest 35, probably from Chignik or so to Sitkinak, west 25 for Bristol Bay. And already saw that one out in the Aleutians. Wednesday's outlook. Tomorrow though, those gale force winds pick up to 45 knots out here for the western Aleutians, and about 40 knots or 35 there west of Adak and Atka. Adak and Atka tomorrow, central Aleutians, you're looking at westerlies 25 knots, and then northwesterlies 30 to 40 knots for the Fox Islands. So now I'll talk about Wednesday. Southwest winds 35 to 45 knots here for the eastern Aleutians. Storm force southerlies across Adak and Atka, and even stronger winds up to 60 knots here from the southwest to west out towards Shimio. Those seas 35 to 40 feet. And for the southwest coast, small craft advisories northwest 25 to 30 knots, seas up to 10 feet. Heavy freezing spray there for the Bering Strait down across St. Lawrence Island with those 30 knot winds, and northwest 20 west of St. Matthew Island. Small craft advisories for the Pribilofs. And then on Wednesday, southwest 40 knots here for the Pribilof Islands, seas up to 18 feet. Ahead of the approaching front, winds come up to 30, maybe up to 35 late in the day or by Wednesday evening here. But right now, 30 knots from the southeast, northeast 25, St. Lawrence Island, and south, almost storm force, not quite there for St. Matthew Island. Arctic coast here, starting on the east side, we've got northwest winds of 15, become northerly, and then switch around to the northeast there on the central coast. First wind advisories 25 knots here on the west side, become gales from Cape Beaufort all the way down to the Bering Strait. And then for Wednesday, those winds lighten up, northeast 25 to 30 here, down to 20 knots on the west coast and the central coast, northeast at about 10, and pretty light north to northwesterlies, only at 10 knots there along the eastern stretch of the coastline. And for tonight, Arctic front dropping southward, areas of light snow along that feature back out into Kotzebue Sound, and then down along this trough here in the west coast, areas of snow up along the western Alaska Range, maybe into the Kuskokwim Valley, and winds diminish here over the southeast coast. Moisture continuing, hanging on up over the northern panhandle. And then for tomorrow, a series of troughs here, southwest flow aloft, so mixture of precipitation coming in intervals here into the southeast coast. Snow showers back along the North Gulf Coast, mostly from Prince William Sound, the snow showers, Kenai Peninsula, maybe the Susitna Valley, possibly the Matanuska Valley as well, otherwise mixed here. Dry for Kodiak, gusty northwest winds off to the southwest, colder temperatures with snow showers all the way to the Alaska Peninsula, and strong winds continue up here over the northwest. And then that system on Wednesday drives the front northeastward here into the northern Bering Sea, so look for snow and wind to increase, changing to rain rapidly with a lot of warm air behind that warm front coming in. Good chance of snow coming across south central Alaska. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX Brief for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Support comes from the University of Alaska College Savings Plan, helping you and your child save for college every step of the way, from diapers to diploma. More information at uacollegesavings.com.